Hello everyone, we are once again going to discuss on the contraception. In the previous class we have discussed on rhythm method in one of the classes, and in the next class we have also discussed about oral pills and diaphragm. That's one of the barrier methods. In today's class we are going to discuss on IUD, intrauterine devices, condoms, and one more natural method of contraception, that is coitus interruptus. First, let's say about the intrauterine devices, or they are familiarly known as IUDs. Now, as the name itself says, intrauterine devices. These are the devices that are inserted within the uterus, and they help in preventing pregnancy. And how do they work? They usually prevent the fertilization and implantation of the ovum. Ovum here refers to actually blastocyst. That is done by inserting some object basically made up from metal or plastic into the uterine cavity. Since the device is inserted into the uterine cavity, these devices are called as intrauterine devices. All these kind of devices are familiarly known as IUD or IUCD. Here the C represents contraceptive. So, intrauterine contraceptive device, or simply intrauterine devices. How do they work? They usually prevent the pregnancy by preventing fertilization and implantation of the ovum, to be specific, of the blastocyst. Usually these IUCDs or IUDs are copper content. They contain copper. This copper has spermicidal action. Spermicidal means it kills sperms or spermatozoans. There are different types of IUDs. Copper IUDs, they contain copper, and there are also certain hormonal IUDs. They contain synthetic progesterone, which slowly releases this progesterone into the uterine cavity, and in the same way how the oral pill acts, these progesterone might help in preventing pregnancy. As we have seen in our last class, that the progesterone causes thickening of the cervical mucus that prevents the entry of the sperm into the uterus. So thus they prevent pregnancy. There are different types of IUDs, I said. There are certain IUDs called as lips loop anta. Usually they are S-shaped and they are formed of plastic, but they contain some patches of copper in them. And in addition to that, very common type of IUD is copper T. They are familiarly known as copper T itself, so in local people's language. And these either lip loop or copper T are inserted into the uterine cavity. But what is important is that it should be done by some special applicators. Now, how effective it is? 99% effective, and it can be kept inside the uterine cavity any range of time from 3 to 10 years. 3 years, 5 years or 10 years. So again, this is a technique that helps in spacing the child or the children. So if somebody do not want to have a baby within 1 or 2 years, or if they want to space, then they can go for these kind of copper Ts. So up to 10 years one can use the IUD. Once it is inserted into the uterine cavity, it can be kept up to 10 years. So it is just the benefit is that, one, as we said, it's effective, and then it can be kept for a longer time, and fit and forget. That means once it is inserted, one can just be relaxed, and there is no necessity of taking any other additional contraceptives, because this itself can be more effective. And one more benefit is that it is reversible. As I said, it is useful in case of spacing. So as soon as the couple decide that they want to have baby, they can this insert can be removed out of the uterine cavity. Then conception might take place. There are other also like Mirena. These kind of IUDs, they can also help in bleeding, excessive bleeding that happens during a period, and even pain. the menstrual cramps can be reduced with a special type of intrauterine devices, as you can see here. The brand name is called as Mirena. The main disadvantages of IUD is that it has a tendency to cause heavy bleeding in some, except Mirena. In some cases, it might result in heavy bleeding. And sometimes, if hygienic conditions are not maintained, it might promote the infection of uterine cavity and cervix. In very rare cases, it might come out of uterus accidentally. And before going to the next barrier method, these IUDs are generally safe, but they'll have to be inserted by a specialist, like a specialized doctor. On their suggestion, it has to be inserted. And one should be a little careful in the beginning, and then, as I said, it is fit and forget type of contraceptive. Until the couple decide to have children, maybe this intrauterine device can be left inside the uterine cavity. So this is one of the very familiar type of contraceptive used even by the villagers. But a bit of awareness is anyway needed. In very rare cases, conceptions have occurred even after using these IUDs. Hormonal ones, loaded ones, multi-load IUDs we call it, they are more beneficial, more effective than normal IUDs. Next one is condoms. This is another type of barrier method. In our previous class, we have seen one type of barrier method used by female, that was diaphragm. Here we are talking about condoms. There are two types, male and female condoms, but male condoms are very familiar ones. And these are type of barrier methods that are used by males. So it's a part of barrier method of contraception. They are made up of very thin latex or rubber, sometimes formed of polyurethane or polyisoprene. And the main their mechanism of action is that they prevent the physical contact between the spermatozoa and the egg. So fertilization doesn't take place, and thus it prevents a pregnancy. There is one more advantage of using condoms is that they can prevent or they can protect against STI. STI means sexually transmitted infections. But it should be used correctly. It prevents the infection on both the sides. That means both male and female can be protected from different types of infections like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and even human immunodeficiency virus like HIV. In addition to that, there are specialized condoms that come with the spermicide on them. So they will kill the spermatozoans as it is. So this is the picture. What you are seeing is a male condom. And the last method that we are going to discuss is coitus interruptus or withdrawal method. This is a natural method of contraception. And here coitus interruptus means it interrupts the coitus. That means even before the ejaculation of the spermatozoa into the cervical cavity, the penis will be withdrawn from the vagina, so that no spermatozoa is released into the cavity, and that will prevent from meeting of spermatozoa with the ova. So this method is one of the oldest method of contraceptive, but it is not reliable, but because sometimes ejaculation might take place even before the withdrawal. This coitus interruptus, it is also known as withdrawal method of contraception. So it is a natural method, no side effect, but it doesn't give 100% surety because sometimes ejaculation, as I said, might occur even before the withdrawal of the penis. Okay, so these are some types of contraceptive devices. So in today's class, we have discussed about IUDs, nothing but the intrauterine devices, familiarly known as copper tees, that are inserted into the uterine cavity of the female, and it is 99% effective. Then there is a condom, but these IUDs won't protect one from the sexually transmitted infections. Next one is condoms, that is a barrier method of contraception. Can be used both by male and female. There are different types of condoms for male and female. Here I am talking about a male condom. This is a barrier method and it prevents conception or helps in contraception by physically preventing the meeting of spermatozoa with the egg. Thus prevents fertilization and pregnancy. This is also useful in preventing sexually transmitted or protecting oneself from sexually transmitted diseases. The last method which I discussed today is coitus interruptus. That means here the penis will be withdrawn from the vagina before ejaculation. Before ejaculation is nothing but the process of release of spermatozoa. So before ejaculation it will be removed so that no spermatozoa is released and thus no fertilization, helps in preventing pregnancy or helps in contraception. That is all for today. Thank you.